Hi, I'm Richard Rogers, and I absolutely hope that you enjoy today's spiritual message. You know, we at Unity of Phoenix Spiritual Center are committed to helping people live better lives. We're going to provide you tools over and over, spiritual tools that allow you to live your best possible life. And if you want to leave a donation to continue to allow the work that we do to support other people just like you, we say thank you. Thank you for your generosity, because this ministry is committed to making the world a better place.
Okay. How do you, when you want to offer somebody a blessing during the holiday times, what do you say to them? Okay, so Merry Christmas, right? Merry Christmas. Anybody else say anything? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Would you say that Merry Christmas and happy holidays are probably the major thing that you hear during the holidays? Right? So, what is the key word in both of those statements? Merry and happy. Okay, so is there a theme in the holidays? Right, so my question, and what I want to start my season off as we talk about the holidays, is I want to talk about how happy are you during Christmas? And would you be willing to be happier than you've ever been before? Right? Because I want you to see happiness as a spiritual journey. Right? Because for some of us, we don't think of church as our happy place. Was anybody raised in an environment where church wasn't your happy place? Right? Where almost any other place was your happy place but church. But nobody else had that experience? Right? So, but it never made sense to me, right? Because if God is here, right? Not that God isn't everywhere, but if this is the place where we come together to experience and celebrate God, this should be the happiest place on earth, even happier than Disneyland. Right? It should, right? So one of the things I want you to look at as we're going into our holy season is how happy are you? And are you willing to take your happiness to the next highest, greatest level? Are you willing to be happier than you've ever been before? And do you see a problem? Is it unspiritual in your mind to get too happy? We have 3 solid no's and a lot, right? So then the question then becomes, how happy could you be? Would you be willing to touch the ecstasy of God? Would you be willing to experience elation and bliss and whatever word you want to pick during this holiday season? And what's interesting for me is we all say we want it, but we're not always doing a great job of actually living it. Does that make sense? And that's what I want to talk about, because that really interests me, is we put such a high priority on being happy during the holidays, and sometimes we're not doing such a good job with it. And what would it take for you to be happier than you've ever been before? Now, I'm saying this as a man who had to learn how to get happy again in the holidays, right? So 12 years ago, my dad passed away, and he passed away on Christmas Eve, right? Which wasn't the way I would have picked it. Does that make sense? But that's what happened, right? And then within 30 more days, you know, we were getting a divorce, and so for a while, the holidays did not represent for me a happy time. Does that make sense? And it seemed like it was almost my least happiest time. Like that I could be almost happier any other time until it came back to the holidays, and it's like, do we have to do this again? Has anybody been in that place where when the holidays come around, it's almost like, can we just kind of skip to February? You know, because I don't really want to do January. I just wanted to skip all the way through December and January and land somewhere after Valentine's Day in February. Right? So what happens is sometimes we have to decide that we want to be happy anyway. Where we actually have to make an intention to be happy. So could you imagine being 20% happier this holiday season? 30% happier, 50%, 100% happier. And would that be okay? Could you actually see that as part of your spiritual journey? Like, I'm going to be happy this year. And I'm going to be happy for myself. I'm going to be happy with exactly the way it is. I choose to be happy. Will you say that with me? I choose to be happy. Now, have you ever made a choice to be happy and it looked happy at the short term, but it didn't stay happy for long? Right? Like, have you ever made maybe a chocolate cake happiness choice? You know what I mean by a chocolate cake happiness choice? Where you think if one slice is good, 5 slices is good. And then you just feel sick when the sugar kicks in. Right? Is everybody, nobody else has been there? We just had Thanksgiving. You people didn't have Thanksgiving? Right? So what I want us to be looking at during the holidays is I want you to be happy beginning, middle, and end. I don't want you to get so wound up in the beginning that you stay too long at the party and you're not happy at the end. I want this to be a high emotional maturity happiness, where not a goofy happiness, but a happiness that's really soul and mature and everlasting. Because I believe that your soul was designed to be happy. That it wouldn't make sense for God, if a God that loves us, to send us into a world where we weren't designed to be happy. That would just seem cruel. I'm going to send you in the world, you're going to suffer, but don't worry about it. When you die, somehow it's going to get better. Does that sound weird to anybody else? Right? So I'm going to send you into the world, and I hope that you're happy. And if you're not happy, what thought, what belief would you have to change to get happy? How many of you were taught that happiness is an addition problem? Like if you just add all the right things, right? If you get the right spouse, the right house, the right job, the right stuff, if you have enough money, if you add up all the right things, then the outcome is you're going to be happy, right? Right? Has anybody been disappointed by this game, right? Because sometimes you can get all the right stuff and you look around your life and you go, this isn't it. Because happiness is not about addition, right? It's actually about subtraction. So what thought, what belief, what judgment would I have to let go of to be happy in this moment, in this holiday, right the way it is? What would I have to let go of to be happier than I've ever been before? Because it's not about getting everything right. How many of you have ever exhausted yourself trying to get everything right? There's no such thing, right? It's really about what would I have to let go of to be profoundly happy. And what I want you to see is the happier you get, the more annoying it is to everybody who doesn't like you. And if that's the only reason you choose to get happy, it is enough for me, right? I really want you to get happy for you, but even if it's just to annoy everybody else in the mall, I'm good with that. Because I want you to be profoundly happy this holiday. I want you to actually take another step in your soul's evolution by being happier than you've ever been before. So tonight, I'm going to give you my top 10. Oh, I'm going to start with one. I'm going to give you 10 things, 10 reasons, 10 ways, 10 paths, 10 processes that I think make us happy. And if one of them doesn't work for you, I'm hoping that 2 or 3 might. Okay? So let's go to number one. The number one, I want you to set an intention to feel good this holiday season. Because you only feel as good as you decide you're going to feel. You know, everybody knows that Abraham Lincoln quote that people are only as happy as they make up their mind to be, right? So you're only going to be as happy as you decide you're going to be. So when you look at yourself, if you tell yourself the truth, and you were to give yourself a number between 1 and 10 on your usual level of happiness through the holidays, what number would you give yourself? A 10. And we got 2 10s in the second row. That's why they're there, right? How many of you, and you don't have to raise your hand, but if you tell yourself the truth, if you look back over the course of your holidays, do you feel a 5 or less? You don't have to raise your hand, right? How many of you feel like you're a 5 or above? Great. If you're a 5 or above, what would it take for you to get to a 7, 8, 9? If you know that during the holidays, usually a 2 or a 3, what would happen if you just moved to a 5 or happier? Now, is this a scientific schedule? No. Who's the only one that gets to decide how happy you are? You're the only one that matters. If you feel like you're only at a 2 or a 3 and getting to a 5 would be a game changer, then that's where I want you to go. If you know that you kind of roll around 5 or 6 and you think, maybe this year I could get to a 10, then hit it out of the park. But I want you to set an intention for how happy you want to be. Now, I will also promise you that not everything will go right this holiday season. Promise. I promise that something will go awry. There will be a frustration, a disappointment, a flat tire. Not that I wish that on anybody. But something's going to go awry, and you're going to have to decide in that moment, am I going to stay at a 5 or higher, or do I want to just kind of grumble around? How many of you have ever read anything by Abraham Hicks? Right? One of the things that I think that they've done fabulously to add to the spiritual consciousness of our planet is the idea that our dominant emotion has the greatest impact on what our future brings. That was a radical, because we used to believe, and many of us do, that it's the thought that creates reality, right? But thought creates a feeling that creates reality. Does that make sense? If you change your thinking, your emotions already change. But what changes reality is the feeling, because the feeling is actually stronger than the thought. True? So I want you to actually begin to play with how happy could you be? Could you be Hawaii happy? Could you be lottery winning happy? Like, could you be fit in your skinny jeans happy? Like, how happy could you be, right? Because I want you to see that that actually is creating the next level of our reality. It is. So number 1, set an intention. 2, what is consistently true about the holidays is there seems to be a relationship between finding a way to give to another and your level of happiness. 2. Is it there? Great. Okay, good. Finding a way to give to others, it seems to have a causal relationship by your happiness, right? So outside, there are 68 kids that you could make a donation to, that you could help have a great Christmas. And I guarantee that if you help somebody else, if you're an usher, if you serve, if you find a way to serve, I guarantee your Christmas is going to get better. It is. Because what's the basic premise of the universe? As you give, so shall you receive. That every time we give, our sense of well-being, our sense of joy, our sense of satisfaction with life gets better because we're actually adding to it. So I want you to really look during this holiday, how do you want to be a giver, not a taker? Because who doesn't love a good present? I do. When I get a great present, I love that. But I can rarely tell you when I get a present what my great present was from the last year. But when I make a difference in somebody's life, that sticks. It does. So I'm going to look at find one way that you can give to somebody else. And the more that it's hands-on, the better it feels. The more that it's high touch, the better it feels. Right? So if you want to go with us when we go to Palomino and be a part of that high touch activity, it will rock your socks. Okay? 2, find a way to give. Let's go to 3. Okay. How many of you know that exercise makes you feel better? Right? So number 3 is hike through the holidays. Right? Have you noticed it's now cooler in the desert? Like you could now hike in the middle of the day. Right? Like you don't have to be up at 5 a.m. You can actually hike. You can actually go outside in the middle of the day. Now, in August, you will not be able to hike like in the middle of the day, right? But you can actually go just a little bit. I mean, there's little strips of desert all over this town where you can go plant yourself, get away from the noise, get away from the crowds, get away from all the confusion, and just be still with you and God. If you can't get happy in the desert, I would say, why are you here? But there's something powerful about it. There's something powerful about just getting alone with you and God. Now, don't take musical amplification with you. Nobody wants to be around you if music is blasting from your system, because they all want to be quiet. So go get quiet. Go walk. Go exercise. Go sweat for Jesus. Right? And it will be a spiritual experience. I kid you not. All right? All right. 4. Does it say surround your or celebrate beauty? I was debating whether it should say celebrate beauty or surround yourself. I think it would have been better to say surround yourself in beauty. Now, one of the best parts of the holiday season is that there is beauty everywhere. True? There is beauty everywhere. Everybody goes over the top to create beauty during the holidays. And beauty for me is one of the great ways of knowing God, because I think God is beautiful. I really do. And I think that if however you find beauty, whether it's out in nature, whether it's in Christmas decorations and lights, whether it's a candle, wherever you find beauty during the holiday season, what I believe to be true is the more you surround yourself in beauty, the more it makes your soul happy. True? So during this holiday season, I'm going to invite you to have at least one moment of beauty every day. Now, you know what it takes to have a moment of beauty? Where you actually have to acknowledge to yourself that you're in the presence of beauty. Like, where you actually get to see and notice that what you're witnessing is beautiful. Whether it's great music, whether it's the arts, whether it's in decorations, whether it's in the night sky, whether it's out in the desert looking at how beautiful this incredible valley is. There is beauty all around you. And during the holiday season, only the grumpy Gusses miss it. Is that true? Because it's hard to be cranky in the presence of beauty. It is. You actually have to deny the beauty. You have to actually close your spiritual eyes to the beauty to be cranky in the presence of it. If your soul sees beauty, it's hard not to get happy. 4, Surround yourself in beauty. 5. Did you see it? Okay, so I just got a gift as I walked up tonight, and I'm probably going to have a slice. Right? But I'm telling you, right, that during the holidays, sugar is not always conducive to happiness. It looks like it should be. Right? Don't you feel like that's one of the great lies? It's like it looks so good, and you think, right? It tastes so good. And then it feels, Does anybody else, it's a lie. It lies to us. It does. And it's so beautiful, and it's such a dirty little liar. It is. Nobody else thinks that? Right? Right? And so we think we should be able to eat it and feel good, but we don't. It just lies to us. All right? So, and then I'm going to move on. So the rest of them are safe. All right? 6. How many of you know how to create a playlist on your electronic instrument of choice, phone, whatever? I want you to create, and if you don't have grandkids or kids that can help you with this, you're in trouble, right? I want you to create your top 25 holiday songs that just make you happy. I don't care if they're 50 years old. I don't care if they're current. I'm telling you, one of my favorite songs that always makes me happy, and you probably don't even know what this song is, but you know Kenny Loggins' Celebrate Me Home? One of my favorite Christmas songs. Celebrate, celebrate. Right? I love that song. It's one of my favorite Christmas songs, Celebrate Me Home. And I love that song, right? And that's what karaoke, no, I'm not doing it, right? Right? But I want you to make a list of your 25 favorite Christmas songs that you can play in your ear, in your car, in your home, over and over again, that when you need a boost, you play your Christmas jam. Right? You just get happy. Next one. 7. I want you to pick your top 10 favorite Christmas movies. Now, give me your favorite Christmas movie. Home Alone, The Grinch. What? Love Actually. Bad Santa? Okay, well, good. That's not quite the direction I was going with, but I'm glad for you. Okay, go ahead. Bob? Polar Express. Okay, good. So I want you to make a list of your top 10 Christmas movies, right? Now, only when there's nothing else to do you get to watch your top 10 Christmas movies, right? Right? But because I want you to be in relationship more than just isolate. But I actually want you to have your top 10 Christmas movies so that you can come to them over and over again. All right? Number 8. I want you to write a gratitude letter to a friend or family member or a business associate. One of the talks that I did this year, I made a case for gratitude. And there's a study, an actual psychological study that showed that if you write a letter of gratitude, it actually increases your feeling of goodness for up to 30 days. That means we really only have to write 12 a year. Right? But during the holidays, I want you to think about who would you like to write a letter of gratitude to? Is it a friend? Is it a family member? Is it a business associate? Is it maybe an instructor when you were in school? I want you to think about the people that you maybe could go back and thank that maybe you never thanked before. And I want you to write a letter. And if you can hand deliver it to them, it is best. Because the people that got the biggest bump in their happiness were people that actually hand-delivered the letter to them. And sometimes it's impossible. But I want you to actually send somebody a letter simply because you will feel better if you do it. Okay? Number 9. Okay, now this is going to sound weird. Number 9, it's okay not to feel okay. Right? So I would rather have you have a day where you go back home and put your head under the covers and have a quit day than be in resistance to how you're feeling. Does that make sense? Like, I'm so committed to you feeling good. If it feels good to feel bad, then really enjoy it, right? If you need to have a bad day, a quit day, I give up day, the world is rotten day, and you pull the covers back over your head and you don't get out of bed all day, then just fully enjoy it. Because I want to make sure that you're not in resistance to any of your feelings. Because resistance to feeling actually inhibits more joy than just letting yourself feel bad for as long as you need to feel bad and then getting over yourself. But if you want to challenge yourself just a little bit, I want you to ask yourself, if this was my new reality, is this the feeling that I want to create my new reality? And most of the time we'd have to say no. But if you're feeling bad, I want you to give yourself permission to feel bad for a full 24 hours. Now, if you're feeling bad longer than 24 hours, you need to call help. Right? And you need to call a friend, you need to phone a friend, you need to do whatever it takes, but you only get to feel bad for 24 hours. And after that, it's time to move on. Okay? Is that the last one? Well, give me the number 10, last one. Maintain perspective. How many of you have ever heard the Christmas story? Do you know anything about the Christmas story? There was Joseph, and there was Mary, and there was a donkey, and there was a long journey, right? Does that make sense? Does anybody remember the story at all? Right? So Joseph has his pregnant wife on a donkey. I don't know if you've ever been around a pregnant woman. But the idea of having a pregnant woman on a donkey for day after day after day would not feel like fun to me, right? Then when they get to where they're going, right, you know what happens next? There's no room at the end, right? So here's the deal. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. True? And was baby Jesus still born? Did they still have a spiritual experience? See, the last thing I want you to see is that most of us have a sense of how our Christmas is supposed to look. It's supposed to look like this, and we're supposed to be surrounded by this, and we're supposed to have more than enough money to buy every person every present we've ever wanted to get them, and everybody's supposed to get along, and Uncle Harry's not supposed to drink, and it's supposed to be just right. And sometimes it's not. And this is where you have to decide, do you want to be happy anyway? Because I promise you, no matter how your Christmas looks, you can have a spiritual experience. Because God's right there. And if God's right there, wherever you are, whatever's going on in your life, there's simply no reason why you can't be happy. And if it's not quite the way that Martha Stewart said it should turn out, can we just practice saying, oh well, together? Oh well. I told you my story at Thanksgiving. Did you hear it on Sunday? I told you my story about Thanksgiving. I cooked my Thanksgiving turkey upside down because I didn't know. And then after 2 hours, we turned it right side up, and then we kind of buttered it up like you were supposed to. And I'm telling you, it was the best turkey we ever had. Because all the juice went, and then when you turned it up, it was spectacular, right? So I guarantee there's going to be parts of this holiday that are not going to work. I know it. I'm sorry about that. But your maturity, your spiritual depth allows you to be happy with whatever's going on. Happiness isn't about the outside. It's about the inside. And the happier you get, the closer you feel to God. Because God's not out there. God's right here. And the happier you get, the more God gets to shine in you. Will you pray with me? I invite you to open your mind, your heart, your soul to the activity of God that is right here, right now. That we make a personal commitment tonight to get happy, truly, truly happy. To get happy with no matter what's going on in our life. To truly celebrate all that is God, all that is good, all that is beautiful in life, all that is sacred and holy, that our soul is hungry for more God. And the happier we get, the more we feel God right where we are. And so it is. Amen.